To start this video off, I have a question for you. What non-reprised Destiny 1 raid weapon did you enjoy the most? Well, today we're going to talk about Destiny 1 raid weapons that haven't returned to Destiny 2. As a veteran guardian, it's always exciting to see old fan favorites make a comeback. For example, the Zal's Bane hand cannon, the Swordbreaker shotgun, the Smiter Marine pulse rifle, or even the Midas Reckoning fusion rifle. But there are still some iconic weapons from the original raids that we're still missing. Let's dive in and take a look at some of these legendary guns that haven't returned to Destiny 2.
I have seen what the Hive call a god.
First, let's talk about the good old Black Hammer, or aka Whisper Before It Whispered, or something like that. Anyways, this iconic sniper rifle was released with Crota's End back in Destiny 1, and had the unique perk called White Now. Sounds familiar, right? Anyways, it was a solar sniper rifle that would drop from defeating Crota, son of Oryx, and it was slotted in the energy section, which meant it could be paired with other weapons like Fatebringer, Smiter Marine, or even exotic weapons like Necrochasm or even Atheon's Epilogue. But sadly, we might not even see this weapon brought back into Destiny 2, but it was a fun weapon for the time. Moving on, we have Hunger of Crota, a solar heavy rocket launcher that would have a chance to drop from Crota Son of Oryx encounter in Destiny 1's Crota's End. Hunger of Crota could roll with a good old tracking module and cluster bomb combo. I remember when I first used this weapon, and to be honest, it was good, but nonetheless, a very good option at best. Now moving on to our last Crota's End raid weapon, we have Light of the Abyss, an arc fusion rifle that would have a chance to drop from the final encounter of this raid. And this gun wasn't anything too special, no pun intended, being able to roll with perks like crowd control, skip rounds, or even hipfire grip for some examples, while being a solid fusion rifle you needed one back in Destiny 1. Ah yes, good old Atheon's Epilogue, a void energy auto rifle. This particular weapon would drop from defeating, well, Atheon back in Destiny 1's ever first raid, the Vault of Glass. This void auto rifle also has an adept version in the form of Atheon's Epilogue Adept, that came out in Destiny 1 Year 3 during Age of Triumph. It's a shame that this auto rifle will most likely not see the light of day reprised in Destiny 2, but overall it was my favorite weapon from them back in the day. Moving on from there, we have Praedyth's Timepiece, a legendary energy arc pulse rifle that would drop from the Vault of Glass. And funny enough, it also had an exotic version as well, in the form of Praedyth's Timepiece Adept, just like how Atheon's Epilogue also had an exotic. But I think it's safe to say that we might not see this weapon return, but I could be wrong. Now, moving on to our third and final Vault of Glass weapon, we have Pretorians Foil, a solar burst fusion rifle that would drop from the Templar Oracle's encounter in Vault of Glass in Destiny 1. And weirdly enough, it didn't have an adept version, but anyways, I could be wrong on that. Now on to King's Fall. First we have the Anguish of Drystan auto rifle that drops from defeating Oryx the Taken King in the original King's Fall raid. And well, this one wasn't very good in most players' eyes due to its high recoil. Anyways, Anguish of Drystan also had an adept version in the form of Anguish of Drystan Harrow, and was sometimes better than its base version. But I feel like most players would want something else to be reprised other than this specific weapon, but hey, you never know. Now, taking a look at another Kingsfall weapon, we have Silence of Arn, a solar energy shotgun that would drop from completing the Deathsinger's encounter right before the final encounter, Orcs. Along with both Kingsfall weapons, they would have the unique perk called Cocoon, which was basically auto-loading holster at the time. Along with that, they would roll Will of Light, which allowed you to do extra damage against taken enemies. But I don't know, how do you feel about this weapon?
Zone C neutralized.
Finally, the last non-reprised Kingsfall raid weapon we have is a good old Elulim's Frenzy, a void heavy rocket launcher that could be acquired throughout the Kingsfall raid, and even had an adept version, being Elulim's Frenzy Harrowed. And this weapon was decent in my opinion, but overall, it was not a bad weapon. And that's every single raid weapon that hasn't returned to Destiny 2. And if you did enjoy this video, then feel free to drop a like, because it really helps out the channel. And while you're at it, feel free to subscribe. As always, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always, until next time, it's MVX guys, later.